Creation's Journey to Life. Day 75. Jesus had a neat trick with the rich. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that in the symbolism and examples of historical figures, one can find the equality equation and common sense as what is best for all life, demonstrated in clear terms that with ease can be superimposed on our society today to show what changes are required and where abuse exists due to the deliberate manipulation of words to justify abuse. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that when Jesus said to the rich man to sell all his possessions and give it to the poor, and to follow Jesus as the living word as life, the example was given that wealth is not acceptable or a measurement of goodness, and that how the poor are treated is the measurement of the quality of mankind as to whether the discipline required as life is understood. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the key to a world that is best for all is to use what is here as control, as money, to redirect it, to educate and discipline the human, to let go of fear, and to create self as the living word, as flesh, as life. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that being a disciple means to develop the discipline necessary to direct self here as life, as what is best for all life. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the message of Jesus was hijacked by the rich and the church to try and manipulate the outcome of receiving eternal life through mass agreement. While this is impossible, as life is life, and what is not life will never be life. There is no special individual way to life. Life is only possible as all, as one, as equal, as best for life, in a trustworthy eternal way, as one group as life. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that equality is a nifty way to expose the abusers that will not give up their possessions for life, yet claim divinity through consciousness. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that consciousness is the design of the rich to claim self-righteously that the current world system is justifiable, and the will of God, when Jesus clearly demonstrated that it is not, and that wealth is not the key, no matter how it is acquired. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the example of the two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, destroyed because no righteous man could be found, as all were lost in self-interest, is in fact the view of the current world, and that the wife that turned to look back and turned into a pillar of salt indicates what happens to those that submit to energy as their job as salt added to a body of water makes it able to move energy between positive and negative, which has been confirmed through the destiny portal. If you are energy only, you will not escape death and will end. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that wealth is the rich man that cannot get through the eye of the needle, as the need to fulfill self-interest override the common sense to honor life equal as what is best for all. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that truth-sayers and soothsayers that give messages of love and hope are in contradiction to the actual reality and do not, in fact, penetrate and see beyond the veil, but are the result of personalities of self-interest seeking recognition and fame in a system of consumerism that does not care about life at all. I commit myself to show that the message and symbolism of what is best for all life equally and what is abuse is known to all on earth, and that the continued abuse of life on earth is deliberate, premeditated acts of justified self-interest without realizing the consequences for such abuse in irreversible upon death. I commit myself to show that any church or claimed representative of the divine that justifies the existence of any wealth while even one child goes to bed hungry is misrepresenting life deliberately to serve the self-interest of individuals as humans who do not honor life at all, and that will misrepresent without any remorse as long as they win and have a happy life. I commit myself to show that discipline is crucial in the walk of life as breath in the process of removing that which does not serve life equally and to replace it as the living word in the flesh to create a living world. I commit myself to show that once committed to life, no choice exists, and what must be done will be done, as all that will be here in every breath will be life, and all of the beginning will be life in and out. I commit myself to show that consumerism is the real religion of humanity that broadcasts trust me all the time, and thus whenever something does not fit the profile of the success of consumerism, it is immediately distrusted, and glamour and fear overrides common sense reason as what is best for all life, confirming that consumers are but brainwashed consumer robots unable to support what is best for all life until consumerism fails, as is what is happening at a rapid pace now. I commit myself to show that to respect achievement in the system while even one child goes hungry is an act of child abuse, indicating the acceptance of much abuse without remorse. I commit myself to show that the laws of the world protect the rich and their property rights, but not the poor and their right to life, making the laws of this world unjust and morally reprehensible. I commit myself to show that when the message of Jesus is taken to practical living as the living word made flesh, only equality as a world system answers to all of what Jesus represented, and thus I call on all serious about the Jesus message to investigate all things and keep that which is best for all life, always. I commit myself to remind each one that money is used to keep the world enslaved to consumerism, and that money will have to be used to break the control. Direct your money to where it will produce a result that will be best for all life and common sense. I commit myself to show that consumerism developed the idea that only the inner voice of the individual can be trusted, as that is the philosophy and psychology consumerism promotes, individual unique happiness, as long as you have money. Those with money and those that desire money will thus be unable to work in a group towards what is best for all life, or apply their money to what is best, as the individualized consumer entity will distrust anything that goes against individual happiness, confirming massive success with mind control at a global scale. I commit myself to show that consciousness is the public relations organization of the rich and wealthy of this world and their slaves.